Mizener, and this is my thesis project titled Orchid Labyrinth. First of all, it's a visual novel. But what is a visual novel, some may ask? Here's a screenshot from my game. A visual novel is a game, but the gameplay is all about reading the text, so it's kind of like a novel, except it's a game. The text and dialogue and prose, etc. are all displayed in the text box, and there's images of characters, backgrounds, and insert images which show up sometimes, and it all comes together to create a story. And some visual novels have choices to lead to branching narratives, such as my visual novel, which has multiple endings because of that. It's very cool. Visual novels are a cool medium. So here's what my story is about. The story takes place in a fictional fantasy kingdom that sealed itself away into a harmonious, eternal paradise where nothing bad ever happens. And it does this using the magic of witchcraft. However, a witch's magic is also the only thing that can undo all this peace and harmony of this magical seal. So of course, the kingdom has to strictly regulate witches. Any girl who's born a witch is taken away and shut into the witch's tower, where they waste away until the day they can serve their purpose. And that purpose is, of course, to be sacrificed in order to sustain the magic of the seal. Here's our protagonist, Dahlia. She was raised a knight her whole life to help ensure the status quo. But she has one problem. Her first crush turns out to be a witch, which is bad for her because she's a knight and they throw witches into witch jail forever. So she's really troubled about this place in her life. She wants to find a way to change things and maybe atone for not being able to help her friend. But how? The crushing question is the Princess Orchid. She used to live a perfect, happy life of being not a witch. But then it turns out, guess what? She is a witch. So she gets to be arrested, which really sucks. In the story of my game, Dahlia gets to reunite with Orchid one day. But that day happens to be the day where the knight is supposed to help sacrifice the chosen witch. So it's a very awkward moment for them. But Orchid is a rebel, so being the rebel she is, she decides to try to drag Dahlia down with her, as ex-friends sometimes do. The main meat of the game takes place within Dahlia's deep dream on death's doorstep. Finding herself in a mysterious tower that reflects pieces of her life and memories, she must come to a conclusion on what she cares about most in her life. Or she'd rather just not and choose to not wake up ever, which, it's an option. Anyways, while here, she encounters two girls who resemble the two sides of Orchid that are left in Dahlia's memory. There's the kind and perfect Camellia, who represents the Orchid who never was, the Orchid who grew up and is happy and nice and friendly. And then there's the other one, the mean and rude Wisteria, who looks like what Orchid probably should be like right now, which is very bitter and upset from being cast away and left behind. What will Dahlia decide upon finding herself in this weird situation? Will she atone for her crime of not doing anything to help Orchid when she got arrested? And will she decide which Orchid feels more like the real one to her, or which one she likes better, or whatever? Only you can decide. The future is in your hands because this game has multiple pre-scripted endings. Dahlia's struggle has a lot to do with her difficulties with facing her identity. Is she defined by her role as a fantasy cop from a family that does all that forever? Or by her obsession and her love for a witch? I too have troubles figuring out who I am in this wide world, and used to believe I was destined to become a computer engineer. Sometimes things happen. At the end of the day, that's what this story is about. I wanted this kind of story to be used with this medium of a visual novel because it gives you a choice. You're the one who has to figure your life out. I'm telling that to myself as well. Even little choices have long-term effects on your life, such as when you decide whether to stop drinking milk tea or not after figuring out you're lactose intolerant. Or, you could just accept the consequences and continue pursuing the road, the harsh path that will give you more satisfaction. Anyways, in the end, life can go in many directions. For Dahlia, it can go in 4 directions because I only made 4 endings. Either way, the choice is yours. Thank you. Okay, questions?
You said you made only 4 endings. Would you ever go back and make more?
I feel like I've spent, my ideal was to have more endings, but at this point, I'd love to move on to a new project and never look back. Yes?
Did you incorporate any sound design in this? Because that seems like the one thing that is really...
Oh, yeah. I have some background music, but that's about it. Yeah?
I would like to dovetail off of his question and say, if you did have sound design, would you consider doing voiceover because you are amazing?
Okay, well, voiceovers, I don't know if I want to be a voice actor because I found I have a squeaky voice, but it would be cool to have other people voice it.
No, you're amazing.
Thank you.